A husband and wife are awoken at 3 a.m. by a loud pounding on the door. The husband looks out the bedroom window through the pouring rain, and sees a car he does not recognize parked on the street out front. He gets up to answer the door, where a drunk stranger, standing in the rain, asks for a push. "Not a chance," says the husband. "Do you have any idea what time it is? Get lost." He slams the door and returns to bed. "Who was that?" asks his wife. "Just some drunk guy asking for a push," he grumbles. "Did you help him?" she asks. "Absolutely not. It's 3 a.m. and pouring rain outside. I told him to get lost." His wife retorts, "Don't you remember about 3 months ago when we broke down and those two guys stopped to help us? That man needs your help and you just left him out there? You should be ashamed of yourself. Go and help him." "Fine," the husband mutters. He reluctantly gets dressed, goes downstairs and heads out into the pouring rain. "Hello? Are you still there?" he calls out into the dark. "Yes," a voice calls back. "Do you still need a push?" calls out the husband. "Yes, please," comes the reply from the dark. "Where are you?" asks the husband. The drunk replies, "Over here on the swing set." A husband and wife who work for the circus go to an adoption agency looking to adopt a child, but the social workers there raise doubts about their suitability. So the couple produces photos of their 50-foot motor home, which is clean and well-maintained and equipped with a beautiful nursery. The social workers are satisfied by this, but then raise concerns about the kind of education a child would receive while in the couple's care. The husband puts their mind at ease, saying, "We've arranged for a full-time tutor who will teach the child all the usual subjects along with French, Mandarin, and computer skills." Next though, the social workers express concern about a child being raised in a circus environment. This time the wife explains, "Our nanny is a certified expert in pediatric care, welfare, and diet." The social workers are finally satisfied and ask the couple, "What age child are you hoping to adopt?" The husband says, "It doesn't really matter, as long as the kid fits in the canon." A new joke store opens up in town. A kid walks in to check out the place early the next day. Looking all around, he sees that the store has several recognizable items, such as whoopee cushions, and some unique items that he'd never seen before. There was also a wall full of candy, with weird names such as Hoot Gummies and Woof Bars. "Excuse me, sir, is there anything I can help you find?" said one of the store clerks from behind him. "Oh, yeah," the customer said, startled. He looked around him quickly and picked up one of the newer-looking tricks. "What does this do?" he asked. The store clerk replied, "Oh, that?" She picked it up and spun it around her finger, or attempted to. "It's a fidget spinner joke. You can try as hard as you want, but it will never spin." He laughed. "That sounds hilarious. What does this one do?" "That's our padlock joke. It will never open with any key ever, even the one that's provided with it." "Cool. Can you tell me about these?" And so it went on and on as he asked the poor shopkeeper about what seemed like every new item in the store, until he came back to the wall of sweets. "What about these chirp chocolates?" he asks. "Well," says the worker, somehow still keeping her energy up, "if you eat one, it'll make you chirp like a bird for a whole minute." "That's hilarious," laughs the boy. "Do these Hoot Gummies make you hoot like an owl?" She nodded. "And these squeaking marshmallows? And hey, what's this?" He reached into the large container of wrapped mints and pulled out a brightly colored fishing reel that had a very tiny handle. The clerk takes it from him and sighs, "Oh, darn. I forgot to sort these again last night. It feels like every time I come back our real joke's always hiding in the comments." Scientists recently did a study on the effects the right side and left side of a brain had on counting. They first took out the left half of a man's brain and asked him to count to 10. He says, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. They put the left half back in and removed the right half, asking him to count to 10 again. He says 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Finally, they decided to just go for it and removed the whole brain. They again asked him to count to 10 one more time. He says, look. I'm great at counting to 10, okay? I love numbers and I have the best numbers. No one has better numbers than I do. My 4th grade math teacher, and let me tell you, she was the best and smartest math teacher in the country at the time. My 4th grade math teacher said to me that I am the best counter she's ever seen. The best. So if you want me to count to 10, let me tell you I can count to 10 all right. That's no problem. I will do it. I will. And I will do it better than anyone has ever done it before, okay? A burglar breaks into a home and holds the husband and wife in it hostage. At gunpoint, he forces the two to sit on chairs facing the opposite way, back to each other, and ties them to the chairs. The burglar slowly and methodically begins stealing from the house. When the burglar has taken everything of value, he gets ready to leave, the homeowners still bound to their chairs, when suddenly, the man yells at the burglar. Please untie her, please, let her go. The thief responds with, no, I'm not untying either of you so that the authorities get notified as late as possible. Don't worry, your neighbors will soon wonder why your lights are still on throughout the night and check in on you long before you succumb to dehydration. The man yet again pleads. Please, just untie her, I'll do anything. The burglar once again explains his reasoning. I need to get away with this crime, I'm sorry, I can't leave anything up to chance. The man shuffles his chair towards the burglar, in a state of mania, exclaims. I'm begging you man, just let her go, she won't call the cops, I promise. The burglar, still unwilling to budge, did find it quite touching how much his hostage cared about his wife. Wow, he said, you must really love your wife to beg me to untie her so desperately. No, the man replied, in a state of frenzy, my wife will be home in 15 minutes. Back a few years ago, I went over to my neighbor's house. She was a blonde, and for some reason she was mad at the world. She had locked herself in the bathroom and was threatening suicide. I said, come on, you know you don't want to do this. She said, I damn well do want to do this, nobody wants me alive anyways. For some reason I actually believed her and pushed through the door, and saw she had a rope tied to around her ankles. I asked, are you really trying to hang yourself? Yeah, so what? Well, usually when people hang themselves they tie the rope around their necks. Yeah, well, I tried that, but then I couldn't breathe. After being married for 30 years, a wife asked her husband to describe her. He looked at her for a while, then said, you're an alphabet wife. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. She asks, what the hell does that mean? He said, adorable, beautiful, cute, delightful, elegant, fabulous, gorgeous and hot. She smiled happily and said, oh, that's so lovely, but what about I, J, K? He said, I'm just kidding. A wife and her husband were having a dinner party for some important guests. The wife was very excited about this and wanted everything to be perfect. At the very last minute, she realized that she didn't have any snails for the dinner party, so she asked her husband to run down to the beach with the bucket to gather some snails. Very grudgingly he agreed. He took the bucket, walked out the door, down the steps, and out to the beach. As he was collecting the snails, he noticed a beautiful woman strolling alongside the water just a little further down the beach. He kept thinking to himself, wouldn't it be great if she would even just come down and talk to me? He went back to gathering the snails. All of a sudden he looked up, and the beautiful woman was standing right over him. They started talking and she invited him back to her place. They ended up spending the night together. At 7 o'clock the next morning he woke up and exclaimed,
"Oh no.
My wife's dinner party." He gathered all his clothes, put them on real fast, grabbed his bucket, and ran out the door. He ran down the beach all the way to his apartment. He ran up the stairs of his apartment. He was in such a hurry that when he got to the top of the stairs, he dropped the bucket of snails. There were snails all down the stairs. The door opened just then, with a very angry wife standing in the doorway wondering where he's been all this time. He looked at the snails all down the steps, then he looked at her, then back at the snails and said, "Come on guys, we're almost there." A man walks into a very posh Rodeo Drive furrier with a gorgeous blonde on his arm. "Show the lady your finest mink," the fellow exclaims. So the owner of the shop goes in the back and comes out with an absolutely gorgeous full-length coat. As the lady tries it on, the furrier sidles up to the guy and discreetly whispers,
"Ah,
"Sir, that particular fur goes for $65,000. "No problem. I'll write you a check." "Very good, sir," says the shop owner. "Today is Saturday, you may come by on Monday to pick it up after the check has cleared." So the man and the woman leave. On Monday, the fellow returns. The store owner is outraged. "How dare you show your face in here? There wasn't a single penny in your checking account." "I just had to come by," grinned the guy, "to thank you for the most wonderful weekend of my life." A fellow comes to confession. "Father," he said, "forgive me for I have sinned." The priest asked, "What did you do, my son?" "I lusted," the fellow replied. "Tell me about it," the priest said. The fellow then related his story. "Father, I am a delivery man for UPS. Yesterday I was making a delivery in the affluent section of the city. When I rang the LL, the door opened and there stood the most beautiful woman I have ever seen. She had long blonde hair and eyes like emeralds. She was dressed in a sheer dressing gown that showed her perfect figure. And she asked if I would like to come in." "And what did you do, my son?" asked the priest. "Father, I did not go in the house, but I lusted." "Oh, how I lusted," replied the man. "Your sin has been forgiven," replied the priest. "A reward, father?" "What do you think my reward might be?" the fellow asked. The priest replied, "I think a bale of hay would be appropriate, UJSS. A blonde goes for a job interview in an office. The interviewer decides to start with the basics. "So, miss, can you tell us your age, please?" The blonde counts carefully on her fingers for about 30 seconds before replying, 22. The interviewer tries another straightforward one to break the ice. "And can you tell us your height, please?" The young lady stands up and produces a measuring tape from her handbag. She then traps one end under her foot and extends the tape to the top of her head. She checks the measurement and announces, 5'2". This isn't looking good, so the interviewer goes for the real basics. "And, just to confirm for our records, your name please?" The blonde bobs her head from side to side for about 20 seconds, mouthing something silently to herself, before replying, "Mandy." The interviewer is completely baffled at this stage, so he asks, "Just out of curiosity, Mississippi. We can understand you're counting on your fingers to work out your age, and the measuring tape for your height is obvious, but what were you doing when we asked you your name?"
"Oh."
"That," replies the blonde, "that's just me running through, 'Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you.'" An old man and a 20-year-old are paired together at a golf tournament. They're playing a long par 5 that doglegs around some tall trees. As the 20-year-old sets up his tee shot to hit onto the fairway, the old man notes, "When I was your age we used to hit over the trees, not around to the side." So the 20-year-old readjusts and tries to hit over the trees, but can't clear them and loses his ball. He tries again and loses that one too. Then the old man says, "Of course, when I was your age, the trees were only 6 foot tall." Hey there, I put a lot effort into making these videos, so please subscribe for more jokes and stay happy. Thank you.